Hi everyone, I'm Ritika Chakhani. I'm a clinical psychology trainee at Nimhans Hospital, Bangalore, and I've done my master's in psychology from University College London. So I'm very happy to be here today as part of the Power of Mind initiative of Rotaract Club of NM College. And I have a helper here who's helping me with the video and stuff. So she's also going to ask me a set of questions that the Rotaractors have sent to me, and I'm going to try to share a little bit of my knowledge with you on how I think we can keep our mental health stable in this time.
Okay, so in this time of international crisis, when there is panic everywhere, how do you recommend we keep our mental health stable?
Right. So, one of the first things is that it being an international crisis, we need to really recognize and accept for ourselves that it is a stressful time. So, I mean, we shouldn't think of it as like we've got a big vacation break where we are just, going to catch up on all the homework we haven't done and all the work we haven't done. So, taking it easy on yourselves is one big thing. The other thing is making some lifestyle changes. So at this time, some of the common issues that people would be facing is feeling bored or restless, being at home all the time, or feeling lonely because you can't meet your friends, or being scared of actually getting COVID. So things like that. So lifestyle changes in the sense that maintaining your lifestyle as it was before to some extent. I know it's difficult. I mean, even I'm not able to get up on time nowadays. But to some extent, having a decent sleep routine, having meals at regular times would help. The other thing I would also talk about is news. So at this time, it's very tempting to kind of continuously scroll through news and videos and whatever information is coming our way. But sometimes reading news can be very disturbing also. And especially now, we know there's a lot of fake news doing the rounds, unreliable news, which can be very tough in some sense. So, just it's important to limit your consumption of news to some extent and maybe not believe everything on the family WhatsApp group. And finally, I would say that this is a time of a lot of uncertainty where things are not in our control. So when I'm really anxious as to whether my exams are going to happen or not, if it's going to, when it's going to be, am I going to be prepared for it? Am I going to get enough time to prepare for it? So we at some level need to accept that certain things are not in our control and accept the uncertainty around that. I'll be sharing some more specific techniques with you as more questions are asked.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. So, feelings of anxiety, social isolation, feeling of being caged, and not being able to meet different people, these feelings are arising during this lockdown. Does that have a deeper connotation about our thoughts, natures, etc.?
So, deeper connotation in the sense of is it that I am too anxious or I am not able to cope with this enough or I am not resilient enough? I would say no. I would say it's completely normal to feel these things during this time. So, we shouldn't blame our personalities or our mindset for how we are feeling or whether we are feeling anxious. But it does have a deeper connotation in the sense that obviously someone who's more social and someone who's more used to meeting friends might feel more restless at home. But at the same time, I would say that even introverts would feel annoyed because it's the choice that's been taken away from them. It's like even when they can go out or want to go out, they can't.
Okay. So, what is your also how do we tackle these feelings?
So, for anxiety, I'm going to give you 3-4 things. So, one is kind of structure your routine or structure your day a little. It really helps with anxiety if you know what you're going to do. So, you can divide your day into 4 blocks and have a rough plan that okay, first block I'll spend relaxing, second block I'll spend on Netflix, third block I'll try to work, fourth block I'll relax again. So, having a rough sense of how your day is going to go can really help with feeling less anxious and feeling less restless. The other thing that we often do, like if you are having a panic attack, so what is a panic attack is like when you feel like your heart is beating really fast, or if you feel really breathless, you feel dizzy, you might feel like you're about to have a heart attack. But the worst thing is the panic attack is not real. it feels so scary that it's as if it's real. However, don't worry, nothing physical is going to happen to you. But it's extremely scary to be going through a panic attack. So, what you can do at that time is use a set of techniques we call grounding techniques. What this means is these are some things that will pull you back to the present. So, a simple grounding technique is kind of using your five senses in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 way. So, what that means is I'll try to identify 5 things I can see around me right now. So, it could be okay, I can see the walls, I can see an insect crawling, I can see the cupboards, like that, 5 things. Then 4 things I can feel. So, I can feel the air on my skin, I can feel the bed sheet under my toes, I can feel the cool rod against my hand. Then 3 things I can hear. Maybe I can hear the birds chirping. Maybe I can hear some people whispering outside. 2 things I can smell. So maybe I can hear some food cooking. And 1 thing I can taste. So what this does is this helps you pull you back to the present and kind of distracts you from the panic that might be happening.
Okay.
So, and the one last thing, there's also a technique called diaphragmatic breathing that we use. So this essentially means deep breathing. So what you need to do is, you usually when we are all breathing, we are breathing through our chest, and we are not using the full capacity of our lungs. So what this technique aims to do is help you use the full capacity of your lungs. So what you need to do is put one hand on your chest like this and one hand on your stomach. When you take a breath in, the hand on your chest should not move, but the hand on your stomach should move upwards. Your stomach should move outwards. So take a deep breath in such that your stomach is moving outwards through your nose, and then take a breath out through your mouth. And when you are taking an out breath, your stomach should fall back. So I'll just demonstrate it quickly. Right, so something like that.
Yeah.
So, yes, so those are some techniques you can use to address feelings of anxiety.
Okay. What is your advice for those who are spending their lockdown in an abusive environment?
Right, so this is a difficult and important question, and lots of mental health professionals have been talking about this as well. So, one of the things, so when you say abusive environment, 2 things come to mind. One could be that people who have parents who are abusive towards them. The other could be people whose parents are abusive towards each other. So one thing that we recommend is having a safety plan from before. So safety plan might mean that you identify a safe adult or a safe friend whom you can immediately reach out to in any emergency. You can also plan some sort of code word with them beforehand, so that if you need to be suddenly extracted from some situation or extracted from some room, without the other person coming to know that you are escaping, so that can be done. The other thing is to identify maybe a room within your house, or it could be a space within your building where you can go to in case things get really bad. And also, if it's parents who are fighting, you may really want to help, but what I would advise is not to get in between them, not to intervene. If you feel help is really needed, then you could call up a safe person, or you could call up a helpline, or call other people who are usually trusted and who are usually around to help.
Okay. Okay. So, how can we use this time to develop certain personality strengths and other personal skills that we sometimes disregard while living hectic lives?
Right. So, what I feel when I hear this question is that, yes, it is important to develop yourself and to develop your personality. But again, it's important to remember that this is a time which is stressful and difficult. So, rather than developing a personality, you're constantly focusing on improving yourself in this time. I feel what we can do is try to rejuvenate ourselves to some extent. So, or really return to things that we enjoy doing. So this could be, for example, if we always wanted to try out our hand at drawing, or we always wanted to write a thriller, but we never ever tried writing, or we wanted to create a comic strip. So basically, it's a good opportunity to do creative things that you would enjoy and which you feel would also rejuvenate yourself.
Okay. So this could be a great time for the youngsters to renew their emotional quotient. How do you suggest they do it?
Okay, so one important part of emotional quotient would be being aware of your own emotions, right? So one very simple activity that we sometimes suggest to people for getting in touch with their emotions is that every 1 hour or every couple of hours, you just ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And you answer that question out loud. So giving it out loud or giving it a label makes you really think about what is that exact word to put to your feelings, right? So you may be thinking, okay, I'm feeling disgusted, or I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling confused. So this helps you really get in touch with your emotions. The other aspect to this would be to I think a big part of emotional quotient is how you can reach out to others and connect with their emotions. So this would be a good opportunity to get in touch with other people in your household and to ask them how they are feeling, check in on them, as that's usually something we miss out in our hectic lives, right? And also with respect to friends, for example, checking in on those friends especially who are not active in groups, who are not posting anywhere, who you've not heard from for some time. So that would be, I think, an important part of developing your emotional quotient.
Okay. So, how much do you think does our mindset affect our actions, perseverance, behavior, and aims? Are there any tips to program your mind to rejuvenate yourself and strengthen your personality?
So here again, I feel that it's important to recognize that everyone's personality is different and everyone has their strengths. So we should not aim for one particular personality or have one aim or objective as this being good than others. But that being said, I think rather than aiming to strengthen your personality, what you can aim to do in this time is self-reflection. So self-reflection is basically getting to know yourself a little bit more, becoming aware of your strengths, becoming aware of your weaknesses or areas where you can change. So there are some activities you can use for self-reflection, which I'll link up to, which I'll send you all a link to. But at the same, I'll also just very briefly talk about them. So one is, for example, the tree of life activity, which is an activity where you draw a tree wherein each part of the tree represents different aspects of your life. The roots represent your background, where you've come from. The branches represent your hopes, dreams, wishes, so on and so forth. So this is an activity that can really help you reflect on your whole life. Another activity, for example, might be doing some sort of personality test like the MBTI is freely available on the internet. I'll provide a link to that as well. So you can get to know your personality traits and how they can be useful or where they can be a little difficult.
Okay, great. So, experts have said that this is a great time for families to bond. What are your views on this?
Right. So we do have a lot of time with our families now, isn't it? Whether we want it or not. So, I mean, in some way, yes, definitely, we have more time with our families, and I've heard of different families, playing Zoom, Housey, and doing all sorts of different things to bond together, or playing a game of Damsharads and stuff. So definitely, we will probably never have this much time with our families. So in that sense, it's a great time to make use of that opportunity. But at the same time, we should also be aware that not every family is the same. One of your previous questions itself talked about abusive environments. So for those people who are in an abusive environment, or for that matter a family that's not that open or not that warm, then it may be difficult for them to bond. So I feel this also doesn't have any one correct answer. If you are getting to bond with your family, that's great. But if you are preferring not to, that's also fine. You shouldn't force it if it's not happening.